the false statistics that they are rolling out is the level of consumption of fuel in the country is absolutely false. And so, to speak to the question you asked me, I think the state government needs to be careful. There is all kinds of states trying to do different kinds of things. This question of increase in salary, are they putting more money in the hands of people? I am not an economist, but you don't need, it's not a rocket science to know that the more you put it out in the public that there's increase in salary and all that, it will lead to increase in inflation. Prices of goods are going to skyrocket. You know, the woman who is selling tomatoes in the market understands that Jake has just earned more money, so she's going to also be tempted to add more money to her price of goods.
Because it can't be done secretly. Because this can't be done secretly. I say government can't make this kind of a move secretly. The market woman will know.
But Brother Folari, I would ask if I have the opportunity to be in leadership, I would rather put some of this money into development, infrastructure, creation of jobs, you know. And I think there's also one very important component of governance that have not been, you know, the government have not given attention to, and is the private sector. You know, the private sector initiative to help cushion the effect of this policy can be a huge asset. Take, for instance, my little organization. I have over and above about 21 persons and other volunteer staff, so we're looking at about 25 people. What we have done, and I'm saying this so that others can borrow a leaf than those who are not doing it, and those who are doing it can be encouraged. What we've done is we've looked at our work schedule and we said, if people come to work 5 times a week, that will put pressure on the little salary that I'm paying. So we say, okay, now there's a group, we grouped ourselves and said, Monday we all meet as a staff. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people select the days that they must be at work. And we allow them, we give them that liberty to choose those days. But stay online so that the work doesn't suffer. We've gone ahead to release a little, I'm not going to mention that, but a little money just to cushion the effect of this palliative. This is a private, and the private sector, we are the greatest employer. We have the greatest number of persons in our employment. I think the government needs to look at that and see how they can encourage the private sector to even come to their rescue. If the president invites the likes of Dangote to come to the State House, the likes of Tony Olumelu, they will come. And they have a lot to contribute. They can make those contributions. And for instance, if this is going to happen, please don't take pledges. Ask them to bring the check right there and then. And then the people that manages this palliative is always the problem, whether it's in the state or at the national level. If you give corrupt individuals, they are going to take advantage of the good measure that government wants to roll out. You know, so it's something that the state needs to be careful. Rolling out these things in a hurry and putting the wrong people in the right initiative can be a huge burden, both on the state finances and in the life of the people that they are trying to reach. Good policies can make the difference if good people get involved in implementation.
Okay. You know, and this idea, Jake, of determining within individual organizations how many times staff actually need to come in. it seems like an excellent idea, and I think people are really sort of latching onto it. When I say people, I'm talking about workplaces, staff, managements that are allowing their workers to do that. So it would seem that some people are already on that particular track. You don't have to come in every day, Monday to Friday, and its attendant costs. People determine. Even in TVC here, of course, I don't know that affects on-air people, but all the whole machinery of how it ends up in you seeing just 1 or 2 people a day, those people don't all need to. They're the managements, the legal, and all of those kind of people. So, that seems like a great idea. And so in every cloud they say there's a silver lining. I suppose we have COVID to thank for that, because that was when that idea first of all got global appeal, that you don't have to come in necessarily, that kind of a thing. So excellent one, and I do hope that those who have not latched on are listening at the moment. And then the point you made about any slight increase in my in whatever it is that I'm getting, everybody knows about it, from the tomato seller to the pepper seller. And since they don't have a management apart from themselves, they will action it. But beyond that, or beyond these ideas, is there very much else that can be done? We're waiting on the administration of President Tinubu to Dele Alake, the spokesman, doesn't like the word palliatives, as far as I know. He prefers interventions. But what these interventions will be needs to be seen.
Well, for me, I think I'm in line with him. You see, when there was an interview I granted, and I called the 8,000 naira almost money without a purpose, because when you give me money and ask me to use it the way I like, first, it's not money that I really earned, so I can put it wherever I like and do whatever I want to do with it. But money doesn't come useful in the hands of anyone when it is given and used without a concrete purpose.
Okay. One moment, Jake.
Governors.
One moment, Jake. I beg your pardon. Please, you pick it up later, because I'm just getting this, something I'm getting, that the suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele has pleaded not guilty on 2 counts of alleged illegal gun possession. The defendant moves bail applications, seeking liberal terms and conditions. The federal government opposes Emefiele's bail application, labels him a flight risk with capacity to intimidate witnesses. Judge is actually writing his ruling as we speak now. It's just a breaking thing that we had to bring to your attention. So there you have it. Suspended CBN governor has pleaded not guilty on the 2-count charges of alleged illegal gun possession, and he's moved for bail. Bail application, he's actually seeking liberal terms and conditions. Meanwhile, the federal government opposes Emefiele's bail application and labels him a flight risk with a capacity to intimidate witnesses. And we understand that the judge is writing his ruling. Okay, after that flash, back to Jake. So we're back after that news flash there. And sorry, I interrupted you. Could you pick it up, please?
No, that's okay. That's okay. Well, let the law take its course. Part of the pain that we're all going through is inflicted by such wrong policies from individuals like Emefiele. And I'm not saying he should face the law, and the rule of law must take its course. But however, back to what we're trying to say, my Oga. You know, the truth remains that we need to, like I said, the state governments, many of them have good intentions, but sometimes you can have good intention as a leader, but your foot soldiers have very bad intentions, and they would rubbish your good intention. You know, so it needs to be properly interrogated. The data's, I was taken aback by the state government saying that well, that's what they were inferring, to say that the data by the federal government seems to be, the data they have seems to be better than the data by the federal government. But I also hear that it was still the same Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs that did it for the state. And so where is the parameter? Where's the yardstick for the integrity test that the governors were saying that they were going to do? The truth about it, Brother FOLARIN, is that I don't think any state can wholly boast that they are sure of the accuracy of the data they have. And if they say so, I will ask, who conducted the survey? What was the methodology? What's the yardstick?
So the point you're making is that all these intentions and devices need to be interrogated. We spoke about Kwara, where Governor Abdul Razak, according to the newspapers this morning, he's earlier provided free bus transportation for students in the state, has additionally announced that a payment of 8,000 naira to workers. Now, over in Ogun State, public servants will, for 3 months, enjoy 10,000 naira additional salary each, an immediate promotion in 2021 and 2022, and leave bonuses for March and April this year. You move over to Imo. Imo is to sell items at reduced cost. This is all in the dailies today. I was actually reading out of The Nation this morning. So Imo style is different. In Jigawa, Governor Umaru Namadi, he's promised to support farmers by providing them with fertilizer, chemicals, and equipment. So it looks like, without prejudice to what you've said about needing to interrogate those that will actually be actioning all of this, the governors, some of them, at least they've not been lazy, they've been thinking about what they can do, because it can't all be on the federal, can it?
You know, like I said, I would invest in things like transportation system. I like what the governor of Kwara State have done by subsidizing transportation system. My state governor, I got the hints that he had provided free transportation system. Whenever there is this level of inflation, the greatest pain, the greatest aspect of the people's life that are affected is mobility. Things like transportation, food, you know. So I think also we need to begin to look at how we can adjust our individual lives as well. You don't have to go everywhere, especially if it's a place that will not bring any meaningful purpose to your daily living, you know. Adjusting in lifestyle, the kind of consumptions we get into, impulsive buying, you know, just wake up and you go to the store and buy things, you know. We need to adjust our lifestyle. Getting involved, unnecessary travels, you know, we need to adjust our lifestyle to conform with the present realities, you know. So I was going to invest in things like transport.
Okay,
go ahead.
I was going to suggest, Brother Jake, that, wait a minute, common sense will even teach you that. I don't know where you're reaching us from because such is the beauty of technology. You could be anywhere in the country, indeed, or in the world. But in Lagos here, Lagosians would tell you that they have seen a definite difference in visible transportation. You know how many private cars come on the road in Lagos on a daily basis and all those jams? It's almost as if what we refer to as go slow has disappeared in Lagos. There's a free flow
Same here in Abuja.
You know exactly where you are in. So common sense has spoken to people. Maybe people who have up to 5, 6 cars to their families have decided that, well, maybe it's not such a smart idea to have all 6 of them on the road and those kind of things. And as you rightly said, people who are managing with just the one car now have to decide, do I really need to use the car in the manner that I've been using it before the removal of subsidy? So they're going to have to. So common sense will even teach people to get smart. In addition to things like alternatives. Alternatives like the generators that you were talking about. People are now seriously exploring the option of, what is that gas called? LPG.
Solar panel.
You know? Well, solar panels, yes, as well. So everybody is beginning to look at what can we do to leave their petrol for them. If we can't afford it, then let us leave it.
That is for us. That is for us as individuals. But is the government institution doing same? We still see a lot of convoy. We still see wastages. Do you know how much some of these government individuals, highly placed, they spend in food, and at the end of the day, sometimes is wasted? Have you ever gone to any of the top government functionaries that the state has to feed and see the kind of breakfast or lunch and dinner
Jake,
people end up not eating?
Jake, it is people like you that have been invited to such events that can tell us about those ones. But we'll take your word for it. But
well, yes, I have. But I frown at the wastage, and sometimes I'm bold enough to touch some of them who are my friends and say, this is not acceptable. You know, it's not acceptable where people don't even have water or things, beverages to drink, and then you're throwing away the ones that was prepared and be seen.
So while we are talking to
I remember I came from a very poor home, and so what my dad used to say is that you take as much as you must finish. It's mandatory, you know, that you don't take food and leave it in your plate. So we grew up knowing fully well that, look, I must take as much as I can finish, otherwise I'll be in trouble, you know.
Okay.
So there's a need to look at the lifestyle of our politicians. Not everybody. I know some people that are very strict to curb wastages, but we need to do that from top to bottom.
Okay. Another news flash, Jake, quickly. Just in now, Justice Owebo grants Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira with one surety in the like sum. So Justice Owebo, who is in charge, we just told you the judge was writing his ruling. Well, apparently he's now completed that, and so we have what he wrote. Justice Owebo grants Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira with one surety in the like sum. Okay. So away from that, Reverend Dominic, good morning, Reverend Dominic. Thank you for calling in and holding on. Go right ahead, please.
Good morning, Chief YORI.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my friend Jack Emefiele. Can you hear me?
Yes.
YORI, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think we both can hear you, Reverend.
Network.
Yes.
Okay, YORI, now when we are talking about common sense, now, YORI, in 2012, what was the common sense that makes us to protest against subsidy removal in 2012? Now, in common sense, why should we import fuel? I told you here last week that if we have manufactured fuel in Nigeria, I don't think the cost will be up to 400 naira. Because I've talked to marketers who told me the ferret, the shipping, the transportation. For example, YORI, if Kaduna refinery is working, How can someone from Maiduguri or Sokoto driving truck to Lagos to come and purchase fuel? At least we end it in Ghana or Kaduna, and the transportation from Maiduguri to Kaduna or Sokoto to Kaduna will not be as the same from driving a truck from Sokoto to Lagos. Where is common sense? That is question, and nobody is talking about this. There's no palliative will solve this problem. Listen to me, Yori. If a state government asks 10,000, why the left is asking for 100,000? Let's say if they give them 70 or 80,000, what are they going to do? This patch palliative, like my friend is saying, cannot solve this problem. We must have a critical thinking.
Okay.
Number three, if there's common sense of cutting costs, Yori, please give me 1 second.
Okay.
Why should the state governors and the presidency are still using long convoys, about 20,000 cars? If fellas say that we should not go everywhere, that's unnecessary. Why should the governor move from one point to other with 20-15 cars? If Nigeria must apply common sense, let it go from top to down. We have agreed here, but first thing must be done. We must prepare our refineries so we can create job here and buy the fuel locally. If I buy fuel made in Nigeria 1,000 naira, I will not complain. That buy fuel made in Indonesia or anywhere 600 naira, it doesn't have common sense. And again, the biggest refineries in the world is sitting in Nigeria. Does it make sense that we have the biggest refineries in Nigeria and we're importing fuel?
All right, then.
We must talk about stop importation.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Thank you very much for calling in, Reverend Dominic. Now, Jake also spoke about this earlier, this whole, what looks like the ostentatious attitude of government, especially as regards their moving from point A to B, whether you're governor, certainly the president and that kind of thing. But I understand, there is a way to look at this whole thing. Jake, you recall that back in the day, General Murtala Mohammed, when he was assassinated, there was no such thing as these kind of extensive security. And I think from that time on, people thought that it was so easily achieved. The dastardly aim of the assassins was so easily achieved because he was moving around pretty much like an ordinary person. And I think somehow we forgot to put the lid on, and it's just got to where it's got now. But certainly, as Reverend Dominic has just said, and as Jake said earlier, government also now needs to know something about setting an example with the way they conduct themselves.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like Reverend Dominic said, common sense is not really too common. It's not. Common sense is actually sense that is far above the ordinary wisdom. Like rightly said, the over-bloated security operative does not necessarily give security to the individual. The fact that we want to, a certain government official wants to be secured does not mean he has to get the whole of his village as security aids, The aspect that the state, while they do all these, palliatives that they are investing in, the aspect that they haven't looked at is a reduction in governance. How well they can reduce the number of people. A certain governor can have as much as 20, 30, or 40 aides, and those are political jobbers.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Jake. I'm sorry to be rushing you like this, but we've run out of time, Jake. But as always, you're always so succinct that we get what you are putting out this morning, that we need to interrogate these things, and we also need to be creative about them so as not to neutralize the very, very effect we intended to achieve, which is to make life easier for the people. Thank you very much, Jake. Mr. Jake Emefiele, Policy Development.
Thank you so much.
Advocacy expert. Of course. Thank you very much. Okay, so as we were saying, Justice Weibo, we said he grants Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira with one surety in like sum, and the bail has been granted. The final line in the release that I'm getting, he has, that is Emefiele, has been granted bail. Okay, we'll go to break from this and stay with us, please, because when we come back, we'll look at what is the concern of the resident doctors in Nigeria. All that when we come back.
In the month of July, on the 2nd of July, the global community celebrates World Sport Journalists' Day. The 5th of July is the first anniversary of the Kuje prison attack when some Boko Haram insurgents escaped. The 7th of July marks 25 years since the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, MKO Abiola, died. His death occurred in 1998. 11th of July is World Population Day, while 15th is World Youth Skills Day. On the 17th, attention is turned to World Day for International Justice, while 18th of July is Nelson Mandela Day to honor the former South African leader. 25th of July is the World Diaspora Day, and on the 28th, the World Hepatitis Day is commemorated, as well as the World Nature Conservation Day. On the 29th of July, President Bola Tinubu will mark 2 months in office. And the 30th of July is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Brace up and tune in to TVC News for in-depth analysis and reports. TVC News, first with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news. TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Okay, welcome back. And just before we went, we were, breaking the news for you that a suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele pleads not guilty to 2 charges of alleged illegal gun possession. He's moved bail application seeking liberal terms and conditions. The federal government opposes Emefiele. Opposed Emefiele's bail application and labels him a flight risk with capacity to intimidate witnesses. However, Justice Owebo has granted Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira with 1 surety in the like sum. So the bottom line is that Emefiele has been granted bail by the Court of Justice Owebo. Okay, now on with the rest of the program, and no doubt on TVC, subsequent new, TVC news bulletins as well, you'll be hearing more about this and even conversations about them. But my guest this morning, he's a doctor, and his concerns are very different. So I don't think my guest, Dr. Kelechi Chikezie, Secretary General of the National Association of Resident Doctors, is going to be concerning himself unduly with that. But you're very welcome.
We are all Nigerians.
We are all Nigerians, but everybody has different aspects. Okay, now that we're there, this is breaking news. I'm just hearing it when you are hearing it. Does anything occur to you? Do you have any comment to make?
Well, I wouldn't have anything to
There
say
you go.
on that. Well, it's breaking news.
Indeed.
So we need to digest the news.
Indeed. But Emefiele, the suspended CBN governor, he's pleaded not guilty to the 2-count charge. And the federal government has actually opposed, his bail. But Justice Weibo has granted him bail in the sum of 20 million naira. So that's the much with that. Now, doctors, in addition to that, shall I say, have other concerns.
Yes, we do.
You have other concerns. And so much so that you've actually announced that a strike might be in the offing. It's like, what is it this time? Because there was a time when they were saying they're going to come up with some legislation that will prevent doctors from jackpying. I understand that that is not your issue. That, I think, can be resolved differently. But what is it? Is it that there are outstanding matters to the agreements that have been reached with government? What is the concerns of the National Association of Resident Doctors on behalf of resident doctors? And how real is this, the threat of a strike?
All right, thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Agreements reached with government. There have been numerous agreements reached, and it's sad to say that none has materialized. That is the truth. Now, why are we still here? You recall that in fact, since 2022, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has been issuing ultimatums, and when government comes and calls for a truce, we shift the goalposts. All right, so we have been...
Please continue.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we have been in and out of discussions with government over the challenges of resident doctors in Nigeria. And since, like I said, 2022 till now, we've been shifting the D-Day, so to speak. We've been shifting the evil day, all in the bid to see if dialogue could yield some results. You also recall that sometime in May this year, we had to embark on a warning strike. The government called again as usual. We reached some understanding with government and agreed that we should suspend the strike while government gave some timelines to addressing the issues that were raised. It's sad to say that up until now, those timelines have long expired and none of those issues has been resolved conclusively.
Now, most of these issues, if not all of them, concern remuneration, right? They concern...
Not so.
Okay.
You could say most of them, but not exactly so. Now, there's the challenge we have. You're all aware of the brain drain challenge we have in Nigeria.
That's right.
And it's taking a toll on our members who are working under pressure. One doctor is doing the work of about 10 doctors because we don't have hands. A lot of people are leaving the system. A lot of people are seeking greener pastures abroad. So we have too many of our doctors working under a lot of pressure because they have to cover for those people who have left. So we are doing the work of so many persons. And it's also affecting the Nigerian citizens because they come to the hospitals, they have to stay longer before they could see the doctors. Sometimes cases are cancelled, surgical cases are cancelled because there's no manpower.
Wow.
Okay, so the burnout effect on our members is becoming excruciating. And it was one of the issues that led to the previous ultimatums and the eventual warning strike in the earlier part of the year. And it was agreed that as a stopgap measure, the government will issue a policy on what we call 141 replacement of exited clinical staff. Now, what that means is that when a doctor leaves, ordinarily in Nigeria, before any CMD in any of the hospitals can employ anybody,
Chief Medical Director.
yes, they would have to get waivers. You will get a waiver from the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation. You will get waiver from the Budget Office, and you're going to get a waiver from the Federal Character. Now, to get these three waivers could take them as much as 6, 7, 8 months, sometimes up to 11 months to be able to get the 3 waivers. If you don't have the 3 of them, you cannot employ. So you realize that if a doctor or a nurse leaves the system, you have another 11 months to get a waiver to replace the person. So we said, no, that's not fair on the system. It's not fair on the people who are staying back to work in Nigeria. So let's have a stopgap measure. While you're looking for those waivers, can there be a way to replace these persons? Okay, in such a way that once one person goes, now that one person that has left is already in the system. He's being paid salary before he left or she left.
Let someone else.
Okay, let someone just enter that space.
But as that, okay? That has been difficult for government.
It has been difficult for government. Now, the Federal Ministry of Health, earlier in the year, in fact, precisely in February, set up a committee. That committee, and it was a committee of stakeholders involved in this process. The committee of chief medical directors, staff of the Federal Ministry of Health, and other agencies of government. Now, when they gathered, they came up with a draft policy. So all that was needed was for that policy to be sent to the office of the head of the Federal Civil Service so that it could be implemented, come out as a circular that the chief medical directors can implement. Now, it was agreed in our last conciliatory meeting with the then Labour Minister before he left office on the 19th of May that the office of the head of Federal Civil Service had 24th of May to meet with the necessary stakeholders to look into that draft policy and secularize it.
So when 24th of May came around, nothing.
Nothing. Now, they were told that by 5th of June, that circular should be out for implementation.
5th of June came.
Yes, and passed.
And passed.
And still nothing has happened. Now, what we are hearing from them is that they set up another committee to clean up the system before they can come up. You see,
have you set a date yet for the strike that we're examining now? That is the commencement of the strike.
Truth be told, the strike action, we issued an ultimatum that expired on the 19th of July. Okay. We issued an ultimatum that expired on the 19th of July.
And nothing has
still been done. Now, what we have is that a few days to that 19th, in fact, a day or two before the 19th, we were called for a meeting, and all we had again was give us time. All right, so we have been having series of meetings. In all fairness to the side of government, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has tried to wade in. The Speaker of the House of Representatives yesterday also called us for a meeting. And all they have been saying to us is give us time.
More time. In the meantime, let me apologize to Babs in Italy. Good morning, Mr. Babs. I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting all that while, but you probably can understand. We wanted to get it out of the doctor. I think I left it too late. Babs had called in from Italy, so I apologize to you, Babs, in Italy. He wanted to come in. I think Babs wanted to talk about two subject matters. One, the just finished subject, and also he wanted to weigh in on all of this. And so at every point, government has been asking for more time. And doctors, you know, what's the attitude of the doctors to these appeals requests from government? Is it that, I'm sorry, we've run out of time and we're about to commence action, or are you going to have to go into a meeting where you consider this latest request?
Oh, well, we have meetings that are scheduled for this week, the National Executive Council meeting of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. And of course, every request is to the NEC and not to us as individual leaders of the association. So we are going to take the request to the NEC. But what we must understand is that, you see, the request for more time is an unending request. It has been an unending request. Okay, we keep getting that from the side of government. And people are wondering, for how long do we wait? That is one. Two, there are issues on the table that can be resolved in 1 day, 2 days. Granted that there are some that we may need to sit down and discuss. Like the policy we talked about, there is already a draft policy. What is the difficult thing in secularizing it? Now, if you're saying that you need to clean up the mess in the hospitals, I mean, that can be done without frustrating Nigerian doctors who are working in those hospitals, because that is what is going on.
Not to mention patients.
Okay, not to mention patients.
Not to
because they too are bearing the brunt. And then when you talk about the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, that has been worked on. It was budgeted for. Okay, now they say they are waiting for approval by the president. And this has been long submitted to Mr. President. What is the difficult thing in getting this approval?
Indeed. Mr. George, good morning to you, sir, and thank you for holding on. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
I wanted to reach you during your first segment. I couldn't. I don't know if you have 90 seconds for me to say something on both topics.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, the first one, Uncle Yori, about palliatives. I've heard many people talking about don't give money to people, don't give. Those who are saying that, they are not the category of people that such money is meant for. In Lagos here, the 5th largest economy in Africa, Uncle Yori, I can tell you there are still people who can cook a pot of soup with 2,000 naira. 2,000 naira. As costly as things are. The only challenge that is there is that such people are not in the data system. Most of them are not in the data system. The government can reach them through traditional rulers and community leaders, CBA. These people know them. There is no way we can become a perfect society overnight. We have to make do with what is available. So the palliative, government is not only doling out cash, they are also putting other measures in place. But the cash issue should not just be waved off because those who are saying it are not the ones that the money is meant for. The people who the money are meant for, they need it. That's what I want to say.
All right.
Then, the doctors, I want to please...
Very, very briefly, please.
The gentleman before you.
Yes.
Anybody who has chosen to go into the medical profession, I know primarily it is a humanitarian job. If you are going into the medical profession because you want to make money, the profession is not for you. Nigeria, any economy can only pay dues and salaries to workers within the compact of the economy. So if they are asking for something, they should make sure it is within what the economy can accommodate. I'm not saying a doctor in Nigeria should not earn, adequate salary, but that adequacy must be within the scope of the affordability of that given economy. That's the point I'm making.
I get you. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George, and also for holding on a bit. Well, we often hear this about the doctor is a special breed. He's not exactly like not just a mechanic. He's not. It doesn't matter the kind of engineer. It might be a nuclear, whatever engineer. The doctor deals with life and wholesomeness and well-being. Therefore, as our people say, body no be wood. It's not a wood issue. Now, that is the case that he is making. So I know it sometimes can annoy doctors, but what do you think about what he is saying, that whatever is being sought has to be within the ambit of what can be done within the economy? And perhaps this continual request for more time is perhaps trying to pacify you doctors that they won't like to hear that we can't afford what you're asking. And so let's just buy time. I'm not saying that's what is going on. But you take it from Mr. George's perspective, which is that the doctor is a special kind of guy. He can't he can't go on strike like everybody else can go on strike.
All right, thank you. I appreciate his comments. And of course, it's something we've been hearing. And you cannot take the humanitarian aspect of what we do from us. But you see, when people say that, the other question is, are we going to go to the market with humanitarian as the legal tender?
I knew that was going to come.
Okay, because the child of the doctor will go to school, the doctor will have to eat food, the doctor will have to clothe himself. And let me tell you something. When they hear you're a doctor, they hike the price.
It's worse.
They hike the price. Wherever you go to buy anything, once they know you are a doctor, they hike the price. So, if humanitarian could pay for our bills, we'll be fine with that.
And this matter about knowing
sadly
the doctor and consequently hiking the price, I think it's a throwback to when people really imagined that, look, because of how long it takes to become a doctor, you spend all that time in school, in university, your salaries must be humongous. That's the way people have sort of worked it out. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
And a person who spent all that time in university, what, 7 years, probably, I don't know, that man is making a lot of money. So I'm not going to sell that tomato. That same tomato, there's no way you can buy it at 10,000. For you, doctor, it's 12,500.
Now, it may sound unbelievable, but there are doctors in Nigeria who have packed their vehicles and have taken to public transport to go to work because of the current situation with fuel prices. So when people think that doctors are very rich people, I don't know who they are thinking of, but if it is my kind of doctor, that's strange. Okay. That's very strange.
Our last caller today, Mr. Adebayo in Surulere. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mrs. Adebayo.
Oh, Akinbayo.
Adebayo, Mrs. Adebayo.
Oh, Mrs. Adebayo. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning. Yes, I actually want to continue for the other man left. I want to talk about the palliative.
Okay, very briefly, please. Go ahead, please, because that's not the subject matter now. But you've called in. So be brief about it, please.
With Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president.
Yes.
I think this man just took over power not up to 3 months now. And everybody have done a lot. Everybody have accepted that he has done a lot of things, So if he had to say the subsidy is gone, and the other people just took it upon themselves and act the fuel, I don't think it's the man's fault. But what I expected him to have done is to have arranged what the man said that is not palliative, according to the Alake, to have arranged that aspect so that Nigerians can feel it.
Okay.
I know it's very hard for Nigerians now, but I just want to appeal to Nigerians that we should be patient with Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and let us see what he has to offer to this country.
Okay.
Because Nigeria has gone down deep for a very long time, over 18 years.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Adebayo. It's a subject that we passed, and did you have anything to add to the imminency or the danger of a strike by resident doctors? She's gone. Okay, because, it's just that when she wanted to get in then, maybe she couldn't. Okay. And so now that she got in, she's using it. But, Dr. Chikezie, we're going to have to leave it here. Taking all that you have said, we've been served notice that, look, you've done everything. Government is continuing to ask for time. The last sort of deadline was on the 19th, did you say?
Yes, 19th. And let me just say, please, that the ultimatum expired on the 19th of July. Our members have actually been calling for action. We have been the ones holding them back because of all of these pleas for time. But like I said earlier, there are things that can be sorted out in 1 or 2 days.
Indeed.
Let those ones be sorted out. Okay? Because we don't know how long we can hold of our members. So there is this threat.
All right.
There is this danger.
And
we think if government prioritizes health, that they should do something quickly. Today, tomorrow, to avert any action.
Today, tomorrow. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Kelechi Chikezie, Secretary General, National Association of Resident Doctors. And that's where we're going to have to leave it today. But just to remind you, you'll be hearing about later on, but the suspended CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, pleads not guilty to 2 charges of alleged illegal gun possession. He's moved for bail. The bail has been granted, even though the federal government opposed Emefiele's bail application and has labeled him a flight risk. Nevertheless, Justice Oweibo has granted Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira with 1 surety in like sum. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am YORI FOLARIN. Bye-bye for now.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone, your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow fits perfectly the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use two together for full leg alignment. Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated, so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made up of soft memory foam, so it never loses its shape and the cover is machine washable. The Contour Legacy Pillow is now available in Nigeria, exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 500,000 naira for an orthopedic bed that doesn't properly support your spine. But call the number on your screen now and get 2 Legacy leg pillows for just 69,900 naira. And get relief from back and hip issues. But wait! If you call now, we'll upgrade you to the Contour Better Sleep Collection. The collection comes with 2 Contour Legacy leg pillows and 2 Contour Cool Gel head pillows at no extra charge. The Contour Cool Gel head pillows' soothing orthopedic support will cradle your head and neck for full alignment, while keeping you cool all through the night for the best sleep of your life. Incredible! That's 2 Contour Legacy pillows and 2 Cool Gel head pillows for just 69,900 naira. And that's not all. Place your order now and we'll also deliver your Contour Better Sleep collection with no shipping charge. But hurry! This is an exclusive ShopX TV offer and only available for a limited period. So, call now while stock lasts. Your rest is your wealth.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today.
Join me, Precious Amayo, as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens, staying on top of every breaking story, minute by minute, right at the hour when the city gets busy and just before it sleeps. We're live from every angle with objective insight and analysis. TVC News, first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Thanks for joining us on the Midday News. Let's begin here in Lagos, where the suspended governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has been granted bail of 20 million naira with one surety in like sum after spending 6 weeks in custody of the Department of State Services. Mr. Emefiele earlier pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. The lead defense counsel, Joseph Daudu, applied to move the bail application, but the federal government opposed to the application, labeling Mr. Emefiele a flight risk with capacity to intimidate witnesses. Justice Nicholas Owebo of the Federal High Court in Lagos eventually ruled that Godwin Emefiele be released on bail and adjourned the case to 14th of November. Let's get more on this developing story. TVC News correspondent Kemi Folariin joins me on the news. Kemi from the Federal High Court. Kemi, thank you so much for joining us. Bring us up to speed with the latest development from the courts as regards Godwin Emefiele's trial. Kemi, let me quickly confirm whether you can hear me.
I can hear you now. Let's take it over.
Great. So bring us up to speed with the latest development from the courts as regards Godwin Emefiele. All right, Kemi, I'll try to see whether you can hear me. What more do we know about the Godwin Emefiele's trial in court?
All right, apologies earlier, Ibrahim. We're trying to get things ready from our end. As you can see, it's a very fluid story. Yes, the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, has been granted bail just moments ago by the court, Justice Nicholas Oweibo, after he had pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of alleged illegal gun possession. But while journalists from various media houses are awaiting him to come out and be handed over to the Nigeria Correctional Service from the custody of the DSS, there are set to be new developments. There are set to be new developments on the matter now. We understand that the lawyers for Mr. Emefiele are still in court, trying to get a formal hearing from the court after it had already sat, giving bail to the accused. We understand that the lawyers now want to plead with the judge to grant them audience on allegations that the DSS is planning to rearrest him again. Now, let me try to bring some context to this new development. That's the CBN governor, over the past 46 days, has been in the custody of the DSS. He was presented in court today to answer to the charges preferred against him by the federal government, and he pleaded not guilty to those charges. His lawyer, Joseph Daudu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, had applied after bail was granted that he be taken away from the custody of the DSS and transferred to the correctional center, the regular correctional center, pending the fulfillment of his bail conditions. And the judge acceded to that request, despite an objection by the federal government's counsel, who said they still wanted him in the DSS custody because they were investigating him on other alleged crimes. But the court nullified that argument and ordered that he be transferred to the correctional center pending the fulfillment of his bail conditions. And so now we are seeing officials from the correctional center as well as officials of the DSS still standing outside the court. So we don't know what is happening, talking about us journalists. We don't know what is happening. And on account of what we have heard by lawyers for the defendant off camera, who say that they have heard authoritatively that the DSS still insists on taking Mr. Emefiele back into its own custody for other alleged offenses. Ibrahim.